Hello again, my awesome friends. Welcome back. For those of you just now joining, here's a brief recap of the previous chapter. In the midst of battles against monsters and cataclysms, the protagonist and their companions face a devastating betrayal from one of their own. This betrayal not only endangers their survival but also raises the stakes of their mission. Despite the emotional turmoil, the group remains determined to fight against their oppressors. With the charismatic protagonist leading the way, they rally together and confront the corrupted overseers with renewed vigor. Along the way, they gain an unexpected ally who helps them outmaneuver their adversaries. The final confrontation is an epic battle that tests their limits and unleashes their hidden potential. The corrupted faction is ultimately defeated, but at a high cost. The charismatic protagonist falls in battle. However, their sacrifice marks the beginning of a new era of freedom and redemption. Just when victory seems within reach, the fallen betrayer activates a secret device, triggering a chain of events that traps the humans inside a new, impenetrable dome. The humans are left reeling, but they regroup and vow to find a way to overcome this seemingly insurmountable obstacle. Now on to Chapter 10 of Punishment Under the Dome. When Daryl and his team found out that the dome had been upgraded, making it utterly impossible to escape, they were completely devastated. But they didn't have time to get caught up in their unhappiness, since they had to focus on the more immediate issue at hand, which was the horrifying creature that was terrorizing the farms and villages. Daryl was well aware that in order to have any hope of defeating the monster, he would need to put together a group consisting of the most capable and knowledgeable individuals possible. He recruited his most reliable allies, including Alara the archer, Jackson the gruff veteran, Nera the gifted healer, and Kai the nerdy inventor. Alara was an expert marksman who had an unusual ability to hit her target even when she was a considerable distance away. She was also a very effective hand-to-hand combatant, which made her a formidable opponent regardless of the circumstances. Jackson was a seasoned warrior who had fought in countless battles and skirmishes during the course of his career. He was an expert with every kind of weapon, and his knowledge of strategy and plan formation was unparalleled. Nera was an exceptionally talented healer who had a profound awareness of how the human body worked. Her knowledge of medicines made from herbs was unmatched, and she had the ability to heal even the most severe wounds. Kai was a very talented inventor who had a flair for coming up with original and useful contraptions. He had already developed a number of helpful innovations, such as a solar-powered portable charger and a tent that could protect its occupants from harm. Daryl was aware that this group provided their greatest chances to emerge victorious from their conflict with the monster. After getting everyone together, he briefed them on the current situation. They unanimously decided to lend a hand, and without delay they started out towards the community where the beast had most recently been spotted. They discovered the settlement to be in ruins when they arrived there. Buildings had been destroyed, and the ground was littered with the bodies of the dead. Even though the creature could not be located, its presence could be sensed even though it was nowhere to be seen. Daryl and his team divided up to conduct separate searches throughout the community in an attempt to locate the monster. Alara decided to acquire a better perspective of her surroundings, so she hiked to the top of a neighboring hill. Jackson and Nera looked through the remains of the settlement, and Kai investigated the bodies of the deceased to see if he could find any information on the beast that had destroyed the village. Kai made a shocking find after he had been hunting for a couple of hours. He discovered a sliver of dark blue ice with fragments of aluminium that had been inserted into the chest of one of the deceased individuals. After giving it a thorough examination, he came to the conclusion that it originated in the dome. Daryl and the others recovered the fragment thanks to Kai's efforts. They all looked at it in shock as they took it in. How was it possible for a fragment of the dome to become lodged inside the body of one of the villagers? Daryl then had the realization that this must be the method through which the monster was entering the community. It had figured out a way to transfer itself inside, making use of the dome in some way. The plan was now in the hands of Daryl and his team. They would lie in wait for the beast until it teleported back into the area, at which point they would surprise attack it. They waited while hiding among the crumbled remains of the village. After what seemed like an eternity, they were startled by a loud noise. When they looked up, they saw the beast standing in the middle of the town. The creature was a nightmarish figure with razor-sharp claws and menacing teeth. After a brief period of evasion, Daryl and his troops emerged and launched an assault. Alara shot an arrow at the beast, but it was unable to penetrate its thick hide, thus missing its target. Jackson thrust his sword at the beast in an attempt to kill it, but the creature quickly knocked him away. Nera was unable to treat Jackson's wounds because the creature was moving too quickly for her to keep up with it. Nera was lifted off the ground after being grabbed by the throat by this terrible abomination of a creature. Daryl was aware that he needed to move lightning fast in order to succeed. He pulled out his sword and headed straight at the beast. He swung his sword with all of his strength, but all that accomplished was to infuriate the beast even more. Daryl was knocked to the ground by the beast after it let out a roar. It raised its claw in preparation to deal the fatal blow, but suddenly an unexpected event transpired. The beast was struck in the eye by a ray of light that emanated from the device that Kai had just created. Nera was able to escape after the beast let out a scream of agony. Daryl seized the opportunity provided by the temporary distraction and sprang to his feet. He thrust his blade deep into the monster's chest, severing its heart. The creature collapsed to the ground, dead. The monster had been defeated thanks to Daryl and all of his companions. They had succeeded in rescuing the villagers, but they were well aware that this was just the beginning of their ordeal. They were still unable to escape since the dome had not been removed. However, they still had one another, and they still had hope. They were confident that so long as they worked alongside with each other, that in time they would eventually be able to find a way out of that scenario. Well, that does it for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. There will be much more to come in the near future as their journey continues. Please stay tuned for Chapter 11 of Punishment Under the Dome.